How are you feeling heading up to Auckland for the second derby out for revenge? What's the theme of the week?
Theme is every other week, just prepare, diligently and making sure the boys are focused. I don't overplay the game. You probably saw the boys, Corbs and Kazu's interview the other day. That I don't need to motivate them. I don't need to, give them a prop up. They'll do that within the playing group themselves. So for me, it's just more about making sure the tactics are right and the mindset's right.
Are you happy the way they're talking it up? They seem to be pretty excited to go back there.
I think it's a natural thing. For me, my job is to manage that line of emotion, making sure that it doesn't cross over into too much emotion. I think emotion is normal. I think it's very healthy for a rivalry. There'll be a lot of intensity to the game. It's just making sure my players can stay level-headed.
Do you believe you've got the players that can break them down and haven't conceded a single goal yet?
I definitely think so. I think they're there for the taking. I think they've been very lucky, to be fair, the last 4 weeks, or the last 4 games. MacArthur had, with Walter Scott's delivery from the inside pocket, like they should have scored. I mean, it was harder to miss than it was to, it was harder to miss than it was to score. So they're very vulnerable, I think. I think it was when you've only travelled once, you get a bit of momentum. I'm not disrespecting their defensive side. I think they're a very good team. They're well structured, but I think there is a lot of vulnerability there.
Do you think you've had a tougher start in there?
What do you think?
You've had to travel more.
Okay, there you go.
Well, in terms of the teams you've played,
we've played Melbourne Victory, who were in the grand final last year. We played Central Coast, who were in the grand final last year.
In terms of the table at the moment.
But you're looking at the table after round 6. I'm looking after the table after the end of season last year. Both teams are very good. We had to travel. We won 3 games away from home. Scheduling is a big part of the ALeague. It's not easy to go away and win games. That's probably the hardest part. And the Kiwi teams have probably more of a disadvantage. So in that respect, I think we've done very well.
What would it do for the momentum of this season to get victory on the weekend?
I think it's important. I think every game, after the derby, we've got MacArthur, who are also in a position where they're high up on the table, and we need to beat them. And the week after against Wanderers, every game's tough. I think for us, we probably go back to where we were last year. We need to get as many points as we can early to build that momentum, and then build on that. Every game is valuable, whether we win or, we don't get the result, it's still 3 points at the end of the day. So, we can always make up the week after and so on. But the focus will be on that 90 minutes and getting what we can out of the game.
And we'll still see Josh play out the back as he did?
Of course. Well, probably even more now. So, I'm not going to change my principles. The team that's our DNA. That's something that we build our success on. And I think that, it would be it'd be disrespectful on my part if I change that, because it shows fear, and I don't have fear. I think, what works. We just, we need to identify the moments, be a little bit more switched on for larger parts. And again, Auckland are the sort of team they're going to punish you, and they're looking for those mistakes.
Just seeing a bit of training, I noticed a real focus of the players. Like, there was a lot of laughter. It seemed very concentrated today from a lot of the players. Have you noticed a lift in intensity this week?
Yeah, I think it's natural, but it's been like that for most weeks now. Whether we play Auckland or we play Perth Glory, we respect all our opponents. I think the added portion of this week is obviously the context of the last game, obviously a rivalry, and the whole New Zealand theme behind it. Again, the players are not going there to lose, or they want to be competitive. They want to make a statement, and again, our job is to pop the bubble. I think an early goal, especially, will change the dynamic of the game and put them in a position where they're not accustomed. And again, if they come away with the win, no one's going to expect any different.
And a guy like Marco Rojas, who's played in some hostile environments overseas, what some guys like him, what can they bring to a game like tomorrow?
I think we can lean on his experience, I think, in these games. And you saw his impact against Victory last week. Again, I still think, he's he's doing a lot better than what we thought he would in terms of the setback with the injuries. But I still think he's not at that stage where he's ready to start. It will come, and hopefully, sooner rather than later. But again, when you have a player like that coming off the bench, it's just I feel very reassured that we can change the game very late.
Tim Payne and Sam Sutton have been included in the squad. Are they okay to start? How much have they trained since the last game?
So Payne's been coming along nicely. He had issue with his glute. We've been managing maybe the last 3 weeks now, and looks like he's ready to play. And the same with Suts as well. Suts has actually bounced back quite well.
And what's the deal with Lucas Kelly-Heald? We haven't seen him yet this season.
Yeah, so he's had some setbacks in terms of some tears in his quad. He had 2 over a 2-month period, and he's managed quite well. Now it looks like he's back full training. It just, unfortunately, now that the reserves season's done, it's very hard to get him game time, to condition him to get ready for our season. So it'll be more incremental with him. Next week will be another week of training. We'll push him a little bit more, and then hopefully he's available to come off the bench next week.
Yeah, and what about David Ball? Is he ever going to play for the Phoenix again?
Potentially, if a spot arises, he's like every other player, needs to compete for a spot. And, if the opportunity's there, it's up for him.
Because what's the issue with him? Is it just a selection?
No, I think, at the beginning part of the season was more about fitness and getting his legs right, or conditioning in his legs. He did a lot of time in the reserves. And just unfortunately, the way things have panned out now, other players have, cemented spots, and the younger players have stepped up. So like any other player, unfortunately, sometimes when these things happen, they've got to fight for their spot again.
So there is a path back to the first team for him?
There's a path for every player, I feel. I don't make David Ball any different to the other players.